I think people need to slow down because they almost want to get to AD type thing,
Hmm.
and they're missing everything else along the way. There's like a whole bunch of things. There's like low severity vulns that they might not see, but as you know, low severity doesn't mean low risk.
Hmm.
If you string those together enough, you can come up with a pretty serious attack chain. So I think slow down, see what you have before you pivot to another box. Make sure you've exercised or enumerated or your reconnaissance of the situation where you are in. It's like situational awareness, right? I think people need to take that, I guess, a bit more in depth. And also when you do this, take notes. When I started pen testing, I was like taking screenshots every 5 seconds. I was like I was like so scared that I'm going to miss a screenshot that I want to put in the report later. So I was taking screenshots. But I'm better now. So, but still, you need to take a lot of screenshots, take a lot of notes. People, when they read through, like say tool output, right? People don't read their tool output sometimes, and I see this with some of the guys, not in my team specifically, but maybe some, when I QA a report or whatever, the pen tester would make an assumption, but in the output, it would say something else.
You missed a finding.
Yeah, like I'm just thinking like something like FTP, right? They would say
Yeah,
FTP is vulnerable, but in the output it says it's using SFTP, which is not the same thing, but it's
not at
in the
all.
output. Obviously, the tester only saw, ran
Just
FTP,
the
but
F.
didn't really look at the screenshot type thing. So that and like some of these tools, like I mean Nmap, right? As an example, how much if you go verbose output, there's like so much it puts out that people
Yep.
don't see or read or not know what to look for. I mean, you might like if you take notes, right? You might look through your notes and see something you haven't seen. I mean, I still do it to this day when I do reporting. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I missed this year. As you go through the report, it's maybe like the fourth time you're looking at it, and then you're not skimming through it. You're like reading it maybe a bit more with more in depth, and you see something. Oh, I didn't see this, and then go back and like, oh, I've got another finding. It happens to me quite a lot, and I mean, I've been doing this for a while.
Yep. Do you do this? Usually, when I start, I will, because I got burned by this, right? And I think that's what you're explaining, that you find something really interesting and you think maybe you find a SQL injection somewhere, right? And you think it's going to work. And then you start working on it as opposed to mapping the whole thing, really understanding what you're dealing with. Because if you do that, instead of like getting stuck in the first thing you find, you'll have a list of 15, 20 things that look interesting, and rarely is the first one the most interesting. It's usually
Yeah.
further along the line that
Yeah.
you'll find the most interesting thing to dive into.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that, especially with like logic flaws, right? You can't find a logic flaw if you go down every rabbit hole that you see, which companies might, this is not their first, like say, app test, right? They've done these before, so they've maybe closed those holes, but there's still those entry points look interesting, but they might have closed it off like a couple of tests ago. So if you don't have that holistic view, I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot a bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Usually, the first thing you'll probably come across is probably the first thing somebody else came across before you. I also always have this philosophy of try to go further than the last person that looked. That usually is pretty fruitful. Anytime I identify something that makes it harder to test, this is my signal that you gotta get over that harder piece to get to new ground.
Yeah, and I
Cool.
think also like if you have the luxury of if it's a client that you've tested, like this is the second year of testing, you can always look at the previous report. I mean, I wouldn't do it on day one because I like to just have like a fresh perspective. But like later on, it might be just good so that you see you didn't miss something obvious.
Yep. Yeah, and also